You have already come this far. You have wished for engagement, and it is here as offer, as invitation to experience more fully your own presence, and of being in the world, and of possibility, your own, and of knowing, and of transformation through experience, by experiencing experience more fully. A door is being opened to you. You stand at a threshold of possibility. We invite you to enter mindfully, meaningfully, endlessly.
Silence bound. It all starts with hearing, then listening. Nothing. Before making sound, listen carefully, with time, in time. Take your time on time. Hear deep. Hear beyond. Hear every little noise equally, every silence in between, above and below. Listen there. Hear the change. How many layers? How many fragmented silences? How many broken sounds? How many continuities? How many hums, buzzes, trills? How many beats? How many bits? What sustains what? What interpenetrates what? What's at the bottom of what? What's on top? What?
Between silence and sound, there is flow. Flow emanating from undisturbed stillness, transfixed into gleaming vibration. Flow pulsating inside visible and invisible matter, moving through air, mutating back into silences again. Between sound and silence, there is flux, ceaseless activity, unhurried yet relentless percolation of throbbing elements down through porous and amorphous ether, undoing metamorphosis, force.
Walking in the Burren, it feels like I'm on the moon. Am I a lunatic? I love the Burren, regardless of what people might think I am, regardless of what I think I am, regardless of how lunar it might look, regardless of how it makes me feel.
We change together. Close the book. Close your eyes. Shut your thinking. Open your senses. It is void and replete. It never goes away. It is time, is space. It is time in space. Time is change. We change together.
Go home now, go home. I leave the office, footsteps going downstairs, rushing, footsteps on tarmac macadam, the beautiful long road at the back of the college, lots of birds singing in the early evening. A tractor in the background, people passing by, can't hear the jet engines in my ears. Finally, for a bit, open the door of the car, get in, close the door, engines on, windows open, and in the summer, air conditioning in the car after closing the windows. After the summer, the heating in the car and in the house. Then I drive home or wherever. The noise of the tires over the road changes with different roads, boreans, local roads, regional roads, national roads, dual carriageways, motorways. I'm home.
reading, sitting and standing, walking, looking at how the light passes between trees and flowers when walking or running, contemplation, prayer, breathing, kissing, sipping coffee in the afternoon, in the morning, writing, typing, tapping on a surface, the sound of traffic, birds flying, birds doing bird things, bird song, another bird song against bird song counterpoint, the refrigerator going on and off, the clock ticking when I hear it, eating, sipping coffee again at night, conversation, inner conversation, the words in the split seconds between words in speech, bubbles, the light from a light bulb, the twinkling of stars, the slow becoming of the stars light into darkness, thinking, a handshake, dogs barking, dogs doing dog things, the on and off of foam in the river ripples, in the sea waves, drop after drop, the rain, a thunderstorm, clouds passing, snow falling, letter after letter, a word after word, a sentence, an utterance.
Remembering, silence, meditation, meditating, constructing, deconstructing. Sound is a permanent, unbroken continuum, and silence is part of that continuum too. What happens when we invade that space of sound, of silence, with a movement? As a body encounters the space it displaces, the movement of an utterance, the movement of song, of noises here and there. What happens in that displacement is rhythm. And the resulting dance, the miracle of sound mutating into silence, into sound, is rhythm too. Pure, unstoppable, deliberate, unfathomable, and unintentional. Rhythm is invisible, inaudible, untouchable, ungraspable. It is void and replete. It never goes away. It is time, is space. It is time in space.
Where does the sound of a voice meet the sound of another voice? Is it inside the mouth? Is it in the ears? Is it in the evening when the sun is setting? Is it during winter when the day is asleep? What is the sound of those two voices when they are thoughts? Is it my own voice, yours? Is it just imagination? What kind of concert of smells and tastes, quivers and butterflies in the bloodstream lies in the innermost moment of a deep kiss? That must be some music, don't you think? Shall we? Or maybe here it's not really appropriate, is it?
My nervous system is audible. The ringing in my ears, I certainly can't hear it while I listen to Intersection 3 by Morton Feldman or to the birds outside and on my way to work, but it's there, together with the jet engines in my ears, especially in the mornings when I wake up and think of the songs of baleen whales or those outside made by African elephants, or indeed the lowest sound made by a large pipe organ. And I most definitely forget about it when I see and hear raindrops on grass, on timber, on the roof, on the street, raindrops on the river and under the river. Raindrops on my head with my ears covered and not. while sitting and standing and walking, and when I perform Solo for Voice 52, aria number 2 by John Cage. I am focused on reading and making the sounds and hearing them back together with winter music, 1 or 2, maybe more pianos, also as part of a performance. Yet if I distract myself for whatever reason beyond my control, maybe thinking of looking at how the light passes between the trees and flowers when walking and running, I could hear it again and again together with the jet engines in my ears. So in order to avoid hearing those insane inside sounds, I focus my attention back on sounds happening outside of my body, as most of the time they are more pleasant and interesting, although I believe one could argue that the ringing in the ears, in my ears, together with the jet engines in my ears, in the ears are also interesting and pleasant, that of course, if one is mad enough, or at least if one remains so according to Samuel Beckett. So here again, back to here again, and looking and breathing again, hearing the sounds of things external to my body. And of course, for a moment, you might consider as a parenthesis that other internal sounds are pleasant and interesting, such as the heartbeats. You cannot only hear them, but feel them, or the breath as it goes in and out of the lungs, or the voices in the mind from beloved ones who are alive and from beloved ones who have departed.
Nothing is here to say, not my sitting here, nor space and time, neither I nor you, or my waiting. Silence is not empty space. It is not a void nor a lack, simply a vacant latitude, escaped and being escaped from, but very full, waiting for something and awaited.
179, 180, a swarm, 181, a storm, 182, something big, 183, something small, 184, something infinite, 185, something infinitesimal, 186, something loud, 187, something almost inaudible, 188, something impossible, 189, something, 190, 191, you, 192, I.
For Mark Rothko. I was voiceless, humbled, made almost of pure spirit. I entered the place 45 minutes before the doors closed, afraid I might miss the encounter, restless. I'd looked forward to that moment for so many years. Yes, I was there at last, embraced by the inordinate size and might of its substance. Mighty, yes, but no less tender. I was meeting the man in his last moments, unsure exactly how close to his end, but close enough to be at one with the universe. All around me he was, quiet, still, faint. He had tried for years to make the beyond visible, available to our existence, to our limited actuality. Every single undertaking was created with the same intention, to transfix us, to invade with a stream of spectres our carnal bodies, to inundate our souls with the most exquisite silence. That is why I was voiceless and humbled. He never meant to make things visible. Things came and dissolved like heartbeats. What was once formless became order. What was shape turned into ambiguity. Everything changes. What stops and passes, no doubt. Yet I was there in front of eternity, looking through a window made of the unfathomable. It was then that I understood his sorrows. I was confronted with his angst. Voiceless again, I started to mumble, to learn how to speak.
I was inhabiting and being inhabited by peace. What did I need words for? Various layers of the night appeared in front of me, starless, yet not overcast. The night before all nights, and I stepped into its bottomless ground, afraid, unsettled, dimmed. And the more I went into the unnameable blankness, the more I stepped back into where I was before. And with every step taken, a voice started to emerge in me, a voice of no words, devoid of all language. It was me in the day before all days. It was him and time verbalizing itself at its birth. In that hour, when everything and everyone had abandoned me and I found myself in such company, it all became clear and I finally knew myself.
For him, movement was fundamental. The stillness lies only in the whole. When in its presence, the smallest constituents become pulsating cells that incessantly glimmer toward a life of their own. They envelope and are enveloped. Little quiet uncertainties, tiny concentric divergences that surround themselves with peace. Maybe it was the smoke from his pipe, frozen in space, a condensed, imprisoned melancholy that he was finally able to set free. Freedom indeed, but of what sorts? Perhaps the distance between the things themselves was the freedom. Perhaps their loftiness gave him comfort, comfort that seemed more rewarding or at least more promising, or indeed less overwhelming than the appreciation of innumerable souls. The things themselves have a voice. I'm sure they secretly murmured things in his ears, wanting to be liberated from their place in the skies and the earth, wanting to come closer to his dwelling, to lie beside him at night, when they could be seen, or during the day, when they hid in his mind. Trees and houses, buildings, and meadows in the distance, mountains, all roofed over by the stillness that lies in the whole. For him, sensation was also fundamental, not to make us feel the things themselves, but to let them inhabit our bodies, not to bring them before our eyes, but to imprint them on our minds. Warmly clothed in his vision, we are mesmerized. Words aren't needed anymore. It is as if sound were no longer required, and silence, that other name for the other side of sound, hidden side, blinded side, is bringing forth what the image itself is no longer able to provide. It is the end of time for an instant, the end of things as we know them, stepping into the frozen infinite that lies at the edge of existence. Peace at last.
A voice calling out to other voices, silence bound, the innards of a creature made of peace, of pure breath in peace. A story told many times past, now worn out of words. Words no longer words, but pure sound, a rocking distant sound, rested, like cracked ice in a vast barren scape, softly saying things close to my ear, things I hadn't heard before, softly whispering a name, my name. It was a voice calling out to other voices, my mother's, vanishing as time has, gently going away, lovingly disappearing, tenderly coming back, rocking me, lulling me, putting me to sleep, awake. It was a voice calling out to other voices, bringing them back. It was the child in me that went to sleep, encircled by the warmth of mother and her healing voice, safe. Ruru, ruru, she sang, ruru, a dormir pequeño mío. It's time to sleep. Thank you.